Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. So I'm here today with day number 14 of Junk Journal July, and our prompt is weather. Okay, so a bunch of stuff. So first of all, I just noticed this on my Tuesday 10 little card that I start my videos with. I have here one of my little dolls that I have in my Etsy shop, and this is actually from a collection called The Weatherlings. So if you're looking for something because you have nothing for weather, I do have a digital collection in my Etsy shop that can take care of you. However, that being said, I also have a freebie I'm going to be giving out today that I will link down below in my description box. So weather got me thinking. The first thing I thought of was an atlas, because you usually get some kind of a page about temperate zones and where the temperature along the equator and the seasonal temperatures. So we have this lovely atlas. This is a Macmillan School atlas, and I really love this page for this project. These pages for this project. So then as I got to thinking, I thought it might be fun to create for everyone a weather tracker, an annual kind of your whole year long weather tracker that we could make some kind of a cool piece of ephemera that's actually functional. Now I'm working on a book right now that's it's basically about sea, the life of people who sail or on the sea, a sea to sea kind of journal. And yeah, I'm giving a really bad description of what I'm doing, but that's okay. You'll see it. So I was thinking, weather is something that somebody on a large ship would want to know a lot about. And maybe in older times before there was media, they might need to keep track of that from year to year, kind of like a farmer's almanac, but like a sea captain's almanac, maybe to predict the storms or things like that. So that being said, I've kind of modernized my thinking on that for us to be able to do in our day-to-day lives. And I've created the Studioloo temperature weather tracker. So this is your legend here, okay, and your instructions and an example. So there's kind of two parts to this, two legends. Figure A is your weather temperature legend, and I've given temperature ranges in both Celsius and Fahrenheit from -40 to 94 plus. It's funny because when I was looking for how to break up the temperatures, in how many degrees, it was interesting because, 20 years ago, these last two barely existed. So just something to note. So what you're going to do, we have 10 temperature ranges here. And you're going to select 10 colors to color in each of these boxes. So then when you get to here are the calendar. This is the calendar. So let's say that you've chosen, from -4 to 0, and which is 24 to 32. You've chosen, say, dark blue. Okay, so if that is the temperature on the first day of the year, which starts on a Wednesday, then that's the color that you shaded in with your dark blue, and it will match your legend here, which will also be shaded in with dark blue. Okay, then I've given for figure B symbols. You select them, and I've left a couple other blank ones here. And these are your weather events: sunshine, rain, thunderstorm, drought, fog, high wind, hail, snow, freezing rain, or ice showers. So let's say on this -4 to 0 kind of day, you had a bit of freezing rain. So if your symbol is, say, a circle, you're going to have a dark blue with a circle kind of symbol, right? So here's an example of a calendar that I did. I didn't explain what my chosen colors and symbols were, but I wanted you to just kind of get a look at what your pieces are going to look like, right? So essentially, I've given you instructions here. Print the digital, select your colors and your symbols and fill them into this. Then cut them out, cut all of the months out however you want. You could do, you could easily do a fold, and I'll show you how I'm going to use them today. Or you could cut them out individually. You can also put these on some kind of a presentation board if you're not journaling, if you're doing this with kids, etc. This is a great kids activity. you could also like use your whiteboard calendar in your home and do this kind of thing. I'm not going to claim to be the very first person who has ever tracked the weather, obviously. If you're interested in this though, in this kind of formulaic art, I recommend you also look up this kind of thing both in the knitting, crochet, and cross stitch world, because I know that there are people who do that kind of thing, like maybe knitting a row. If your day is, you know, say 1 to 5 and you've chosen green, you knit a row of green on a scarf. And maybe if you're cross stitching, I know that there are people out there who have created cross stitch patterns for this, like with temperature gauges and stuff. I've seen it. I haven't stitched them myself, but they're nice and it's cool. So the calendar here, we have all the months, and we have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So there's no numbers on this calendar by intention. It's by design so that you can use it for any year. Now, if you wanted to draw in numbers, you certainly can. But what I've said here is there are no numbers on the calendars. This is by design, so it can be used any year. The first day of the week will be made clear by the first entry that you make on the calendar. Numbers are not required. So, you know, let's say that the month of March is going to start on a Wednesday, and you color this one in red and you add your exclamation point because it's a sunshine day and you've chosen exclamation point. You're going to know that that's the first, right? There's like, you know, you haven't used those first 3. But alternatively, you could do your red exclamation point for sunshine, and you can add a 1 up in the corner, right? That's fine. What else? I think that's all of the kind of instructions for using this. Now, the other thing is you can print this at a different size. So here's the regular size, right? And then here is 80%. And that's what I'm going to use today. I wanted to give it in a full size, so you could use it for like a full large kind of, some people make very large scrapbook style journals. So I want this to be applicable for anybody. So here's 80%, which is what I'm going to use today for the type of ephemera that I want to make. For this ship captain's book. So 80% looks like this. So here's the first page and there's the second page, and you can see, you know, the border and everything around the pages, right? Like it's a lot different. So enough blathering on. That being said, check my description box below and you'll find the link to the freebie. I'll be putting it on both Ko-fi and on Patreon. You know, and while you're there, just so you know, I have lots of other things available on both of those sites, both for sale and freebie things. Sign up to my Patreon. I will be a little more often posting things for everyone. I primarily do focus on my community though, but I'm planning to add a little more there, like vlogging and stuff, just because I want to. So I'm going to tear these 2 pages out. These are the winter and summer temperatures in North America. So get those. Get this atlas out of here. Now, what I would like to do is create like something that would be easily kind of transported, like a traveler's brochure for my sea captain. So I need to see, let me show you my book that I'm using. One sec. So Songs of the Sea is ultimately what this journal is going to be made in this actual book, okay? Sorry, my son was trying to call my daughter on the smart device. Anyways, that being said, I need to create like a brochure that's going to fit inside this book. So I've got most of the size of this available to me. So I'm just going to take a folder, a long folder, and I'm going to fold it up to just be the same, roughly the same size as my book here. So, okay. So we've got the full height minus a little bit of this, okay? So let me just set this aside now because I know what size I can use. So what I want to have is, in panels, I need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels in this piece of like this brochure, okay? Now that I'm looking at this, I might actually do it this way if I can fit, and I can. Okay, so this will give me 6 panels. So basically all you really need to do now is take one of these big envelopes, or these big, folders, okay? And you're going to fold it in thirds, just like that. Okay, that was an accidental lovely thing that happened. And I don't have any real plan as I get going. So now we're going to bone fold. Okay, just bone fold. Then I need to measure. The tallest part of this is going to be the 2 legends, okay? So that will fit on here nicely. But what I want to do now is, while this is folded, I'm going to cut the top off because I don't want this folder, and then the bottom, so that I can have this be... Actually, do I want to cut the bottom? Let me think. No, I don't want to cut the bottom. The bottom has to stay because that's what connects the whole folder. Yeah, I'm just going to trim the top. Okay, let me grab my cutter. Right. So now we'll cut this to about, I'm going to say 8.5. Maybe a little titch more. Just a little titch more, because I still had some of the folder line on there, and that is not what I want. Okay, so that's that. Now let me look at this. Okay, so on this this is doubled. Okay, now do I need it doubled? Not necessarily. I think I can go either way with this, because I'm going to have 4 sections of calendar and 1 section of legend, and then 1 section of, like, you could do a cover for it, or you could have it be writing space. I'm going to have the legend, I think, be my cover though. So let me think. Yep, 1. So this gives you, half of a folder will give you 6 surfaces. So you know what? I can actually cut apart this. And let me just see. And it will still fit well. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to tear this in half. I don't need both of these, because a half gives you 6 surfaces. All right. I did not make a, before everything kind of plan. Okay, so that being said though, wait a minute. I was thinking about using, like, I initially was like, I'm going to use these papers on one whole side of this, but because I don't have both of those surfaces, I can't do that. So that's okay though, because, like, I don't want this to be so bulky that it really bulks my book up. So what I'll do is, instead of that, I'm going to use just the front page. I will cover with this cool, like, temperature thing. Okay. So I think first things first, we're going to tear out all of the calendars and get them put down, or at least start working on the process here. Okay. I'm going to actually take the lines around the edge right off. I have those there just because I know some people really like to use a tabled format for these kind of things. Whenever there's mathing and stuff involved, like, some people really have preferences, and I try to answer to that. Oh, the other thing is I have notes under here. If you want to add any notes about your day, just leave a little more space underneath, okay? And I'm actually going to take the notes off mine, just because I think a ship captain more than likely isn't a note taker in a way that would be, like, so formalized. He'd be just writing something like, "Yar she blows, it's so windy," or something. Okay. And I just printed these on copy paper. You might want to go with a thicker paper, but I don't need a thicker paper for my project. And I'm tearing these out in the 3s. I purposely set them up that way so that you could use them like in these tall lengths, because I knew I was making this brochure style ephemera. So that's why they go in that way. But clearly you can cut them out however you want to. Okay. So now I think let's do a real quick plan. So if I'm covering this here, I could do the legend in here. And then there's 4 of these, right? So it might actually be quite perfect. So January, February, March, April, May, and June. Then we come over here. July, August, and September. October, November, December. Okay. And we still have that front area here. So then I'm going to just collect all these up again because we're not going to use them quite yet. Now I'm not going to need both of these pages. I'm just going to use one of them. I'm going to use the one that's more colorful. Just put the other one back. Then I think what I'll do is just glue. So what's the front of the, yeah, this will be like the front of the brochure or guide. And I'm going to glue this on just with a bit of glue stick. How wide is this? So if I went from here to there, yeah, it's just going to be about a bit. Trying to think of the best place to do this. So first I'll take this off. So I think right like that is what I want. But I'm only using it as a quick guide, and then I have to lift it again because that's actually upside down. I'm doing it that way though because I want to get rid of as much of that legend as I can. And you could just fold this right over and use it as background if you want it. You can certainly cover the background if you want to, but I don't want to. I'm going to do something different. So now I'm going to actually apply glue directly onto this and then glue it down. Okay. Okay. Just looking at something here. I've got I'm just looking at some of these pieces I've got from a collection I'm using in the book. Okay, I have Sea Journal, and I have the sea, once it casts its spell, holds one in its net of wonder forever. I'm thinking I'm going to use one of those two on here. I think I'll go Sea Journal maybe. Yep. Okay, so this is on here. This is going to look really raw for a little while. Don't worry though, we're going to make this a cohesive thing. right there. Okay. So now we need our legends. And I'm not going to fill out any of this. I'm going to leave this to whoever may get this book to do. And then when I hit it with some mixed media, whatever colors they use, it's going to go right on top of the mixed media. And I'm just going to go around the edge with art glitter glue. Because it's nice and strong and it's going to be what I want to hold it down. Nice and flat. Okay, then we need January. And you can choose to put this at the top, bottom, whatever. I'm going in the middle. April. And if you're here watching and you're enjoying this, I would ask if you would please subscribe. We're getting so close to 3,000 subscribers, and I'm pretty excited about that. Okay, June, July is next. Oops. There we go. Then October. Okay, perfect. Now what I would like to do is I want to round the corners to give it that brochure type feel. Okay, and then this needs to be seriously grunged up because it's way too fresh. It's like a brand new baby here. Okay. But you see we've got our legend, months. Okay. So now this is ready for some grunging. Let me get my grunge box. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this with some oxides. See what colors. Oops, a little bit of peacock feather, weathered wood, and crushed olive. And I'm going to use a little of the black. I've got a little of the black leftover oxide on here before I go in with the weathered wood. It's actually scorched timber, I think, but I want to go in with weathered wood. Because it's more like of a, a gray anti-color than a real color, but it's going to add age to this. I don't want to like super color everything on those charts because I don't want to, impede how someone may want to color it in. So I'm going to go in right on top of this whole thing. Same on back. And I know that, yes, you can directly touch the paper with that pad, but I don't want it to get too dark. So that's why I'm not doing that, and I don't want lines. Okay. You could also print this on like an oatmeal kind of colored paper for a project like this too, if you were trying to make it grungy. Now I'm going to come in with some crushed olive just around the edges here and in a bit of randomness. Not going to go on the tables with this though. More because this is like, I want this like to look a little like a bit of a moldy, ocean stained kind of thing. And then a little of this because I'm going with a paper in this particular book. It's got lots of this kind of color to it. So I'm going to add a little, this peacock feather. And then we'll flip over and do the same thing. I'm going to go a little heavier here at the front with this color. I definitely don't want a whole lot of white. Okay, and then again I need more of the crushed olive for this side, and I'm going to start here with it. Just randomness. Okay, so now I'm going to take my coffee that I keep in a spray bottle. It has alcohol in it, and this is where we're going to activate those oxides and also add the more true grunge on all the way. Now, yes, I know we're changing the calendar coloration, but if you were going in there with either a pencil crayon or a marker, as I suspect most people will, it's not going to matter. And also you can, I should mention, like, you don't have to shade the whole thing in if you don't want to. You can draw the symbol in a certain color that does both the, you know, the temperature and the symbol in one shot, or you can just add like a dot, like a circle of the color instead of shading it. I probably would shade it, but I'm just going to dry this up. Now, one thing I should mention about this, okay, because you're going to be like, why did she do it this way? Okay, so by intention, I did one thing. As you saw earlier, I glued just the edge of this paper down with art glitter glue. I did not go all the way across. And the reason is I want this to look a little wrinkly and rumply for this particular journal, the effect that I'm going for with it. So if you want it to lay flat, obviously use glue stick or use art glitter glue all the way across and spread it thinly, you know, or you're not going to be getting it wet at all, so it doesn't matter. You can glue it the same way I did. But if you're using any wet medium on copy paper, it is going to wrinkle, so just keep that in mind. I want that for this piece though, because this needs to look kind of like an old ship captain's map that's been through things. I'm going to be abusing it a little bit more after I do this to it even. So let me get this dry, then I'll spray the other side of it in the same manner I have here, and I'll dry that too, and then you'll see what it looks like after that. Okay, so here we go. This is now dry, and you'll see all the cool like inking and stuff, like how the colors of the oxide have stained this up. I really like it. I do think it needs a little bit more browning, a little bit more grunging, maybe a little creasing. I'm just gonna sort of speed it up a little bit because it needs to go in this book. Okay, so I'm gonna come in with some scorched timber now. And I'm going to hit the edges of it with scorched timber, because I just really kind of want this to be a grungy kind of handled looking piece. Not going to impact the wet ink spots though, so I'm just going to go a little on the edge around here. Then we'll open it up, fold it the other way, and kind of do the same thing. And if you are spraying anything that's printed, just be a little careful because ink can run unless you're doing laser printing. I do use an inkjet printer, so see here there's a little washout, but I actually kind of did that on purpose. I soaked this, like you'll see everywhere else that didn't happen. I sort of soaked this a little bit more intentionally. You'll see some extra spots there too. I want this to have a certain kind of look, and I don't even know if in the journal I put this in, whomever shall choose this journal, if they're going to use it to track the weather. They might just use it as a piece of ephemera and do writing on the table, which is totally fine. Or they may even end up using it just as a lookbook, which I know some people have a collection of journals like that in their collection because they're art. That's what they are, right? They're functional, but they're also art, and people do all sorts of different things with junk journals. Okay, so yeah, I like that a little more. That's a little more grungy. Perfect. Just gonna kind of ink this a little. This would have, like, you know, probably thumbprints and coffee marks and pipe ash or whatever, right? Okay. But see, it is still extremely usable. If you came in with a nice dark, like chalky, like pencil crayon, it's going to do the same thing that I've been recommending here. So now I think what I'd like to do is maybe I've got some nice, like eco-printed and torn wool scraps that look like, you know, this has numbers on it and it's got this wool label. I'm thinking I want to put something on this maybe that will make it even a little bit more kind of themed toward my book, and I'm thinking that might be kind of cool. So I'm just gonna open this up if I can. I can. Okay. Oy. Let's take some scissors to the end here. So grungy and good. Then I'm gonna just cut it off right before this designed by whatever. Love how grungy that is. And then I could put it on the edge here if I wanted, or I could have it here. I think I like that more. Yeah. So I'm gonna stitch this on, I think. Which way though? Grungy side that way? Yeah, let's do grungy side that way. So I'm going to just go over to the sewing machine and I'm going to stitch that on. I was deciding if I wanted to stitch around this whole thing, but I don't know. I'm going to look at the sewing machine. All right, so this is done. I love this. So I've stitched this on. I did a little straight stitch and zigzag stitch just for kind of a decorative texture there. And then I did a straight stitch around all of these, each page individually, as like a, you know, kind of a loop. And I just think it gives it more of a texture of something that somebody would carry around a lot with them. It's like, I don't know, like, you know, maybe at that time something like this would have been made and backed with some kind of an animal skin or a leather or something, and it just kind of gives it more of that strength because this is a folder, so it's a little heavier. And yeah, I just think this whole thing has a great feel to it. It just feels very tactile. So that is my project for today. Probably considerably different than what most of you would use this piece of, like, not piece of ephemera, but this system, this like weather tracking kind of system for. More than likely you're not making it from, you know, a pirate's point of view, but I think it's very functional and I'm really happy with the piece that I made for my journal. Hopefully it also gets you thinking around how you can use different things like this and work them into themes. Like if you're, you know, making a book about anything, like if you think of, you know, a journal about something like someone's romantic relationship. You could think about how to use vintage valentines, you know, and change them, grunge them up, maybe add a label of some kind from the town that people met or something, like just trying to get you to contextualize and get deeper into your themes. I think you make an even more interesting book when you do that. So hopefully you can have fun with this temperature weather tracker. It will be linked down below in my description box. And thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will see you again really soon for more Junk Journal July. Bye for now.